Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to American Falls by Lancyboi. We are playing Farming Simulator 22. We are playing in hard mode with some other little check marks to make our lives a little bit more miserable. But you know what? Makes it more fun too in the long run, right? We're making progress slowly but surely. Second day of April, just after 8 o'clock in the AM, almost 73,000 in the bank. We're going to work on a couple of contracts today. Couple of cotton seeding contracts, in fact. Before we get started, I definitely want to welcome Joe and Martin. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for subscribing. It means a lot to me. It's awesome. Hope you have a fun time here. As a reminder to everyone, you are welcome to join our Discord server. Of course, that's free, and you can find the info in the description below. You're also welcome to become a member to the channel. That's always available for you. We are possibly working on a multiplayer server, still trying to get that straightened out, but I think we'll get there eventually. We'll figure out what we want to do, thanks to Gen X and his hard work there. Of course, TBG is always putting in effort to the channel. It's always appreciated. And Jeffrey, never forget Jeffrey. Great comments, good friend of the channel. So hey, the Lizard M99 Planter. Kind of spotted this a while ago, and I've wanted to use these things, so I decided this would be a good opportunity. 3 varieties, 6, 8, and 10 meters. Low horsepower, 170, 150, and 100. That's not too shabby for planters. Of course, a little bit of a John Deere knockoff, I would say, but you know what? Sometimes going generic can pay for itself, and I just want to apologize straight away. I bit my tongue last night while I was sleeping. And oh my gosh, waking up to that pain. Oh man. Oh, let's check this out. I love these covers here. Let's check them out real quick. Yeah, buddy. Oh, I just like that. And then those open, of course, for fertilizer, which we definitely don't need, nor do we want. I've got some extra seeds right there, hopefully enough for this particular field. Like I said, we've got 2 contracts waiting for us. We've got field 1, which we're on, and we've got field 26 waiting for us. But let's get going, let's get cracking, let's get done. Let's unfold. I have cotton selected. That's a good start. Pretty slick indeed. Very nice. Let me adjust my headset. But anyways, yeah, I bit my tongue like crazy last night. Woke up in massive amount of pain. Bit my tongue in the back, like on the side of it, and the way back though, like my molar must have chowed into it. Very unpleasant. What am I doing? It's on. Oh, there's not much of a noise for being on. Alright, well, let's just see what we got here. Oh, yeah. She's doing her job. If I can do my job, she's doing her job. So, yeah. Happy Monday. Hope you all had a good weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. Spent some time on the multiplayer server. Spent some time doing some other things. Had to do some cleaning and all the stuff we do to make our lives bearable. Ugh. I don't like cleaning. I wish I could afford a maid or some kind of cleaning service. That would be so amazing. So amazing. Hopefully the sound is correct. I was messing around with volume levels when I was on the multiplayer server, and I think I've got them back to where they were before, but hopefully you guys can hear me okay and I'm not screaming in your ear, and hopefully you can hear the tractor. It's always a fine line between speaking and that blend of speaking and being at the right levels with the machinery. I think eventually I might want to invest in I don't even know what they would be. Whatever goes between your mic and PC. I'm not an AV guy. They want me to be an AV guy. Even at work, they want me to be an AV guy, and I have fought against it quite a bit. It's not that I don't like AV stuff. I actually quite like AV stuff. If I had the money, I'd love to be you know, have the old audiophile stuff and high-end video. Come on, who doesn't like that, right? So basically, our grass is growing. Our grass is growing. I don't know. I don't even know what that was. That's my tongue. Blame it on my tongue. Our grass is growing. We might get a cutting in yet here in April. If not, we'll for sure do it in May. Let's hop inside. I think if I follow this little line right here, we'll be in pretty good shape. Starting to get a little more used to not using GPS. It's kind of liberating a little bit. I don't know if I necessarily have the skills yet, but I'm starting to get used to it. It's a little liberating. It's kind of freeing. It's like driving a stick instead of a manual is kind of the feeling I'm getting. You know, just a little bit more on you to do it right. I'm actually quite liking this planter as well. 10-meter planter, so not huge, but probably a decent size for a map like this, I would think. You know, there's a John Deere, I think 17, 18-meter planter. That thing's pretty massive. I mean, it's always nice to get things done faster, but sometimes some of those big planters, oh man, getting them down the road too and into certain fields can be kind of a nightmare. Watch the road, Brad. Watch where you're going. Oh, we've got a couple of people, you know, retirement. Retirement sounds so good. Doesn't retirement sound good? I think retirement sounded good for me at 20. I think when I was 20 years old, I was already fantasizing about retirement. Oh, man. I'm afraid if I would retire, I don't know. I feel like time would really fly. Like, I've had one time in my life, I was out of work for, I want to say it was 5 or 6 months. And trying to land the job, trying to do this and that. I had some money left over from, I don't know, what do they call those? When they lay you off, you get a package and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I remember during that time, you start getting lost. You know, it's like, what day is it? And you just don't, you know, everything just kind of becomes blurred into one big mess. And it kind of got like days were flying by because you started waking up later, started doing this and that. And so I don't know, if I retire, when I retire, I'm going to have to be a little careful about how I manage my time, I think. Maybe find something like work related, but not have to do kind of stuff. Like do because you enjoy it kind of stuff. I'd love to know how many people, what the percentage is of people that have jobs that they honestly like love. Like get up in the morning and go, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm going to work today. This is amazing. And then at the end of the day, man, do I have to leave? I just noticed these things are just jostling around. That's pretty sweet. I like it. I like it. I like it quite a bit. Excuse me. All right, not too shabby. 21% done already. Of course, YouTube would be a major part of that plan, I think. I think it'd be nice if we all had the ability to just do what we want to do. You know, if you want to be a full-time YouTuber, you know what? There you go. I think about these things. I don't know why. Buddy and I talked about it the other day too. Like if you were offered, and he's quite a bit younger than I am, but if you were offered your current salary And that's all you'd ever get paid again for the rest of your life. That's what you're going to make. No raises, no nothing. Oh, I see some rocks. Oh, yes. Glad this isn't my field. But if you were paid that for the rest of your life, would you just take that salary and then just go off and do what you want? Would you take that offer? I don't know. I would now, for sure. But at 20, I don't know if I would have or not. It'd be tempting. But you can't get a second job. You know, you can't take your current salary and then go, oh yeah, I'm going to go work a second job now and just make twice as much. It's one of those things where you have to take what you're given and then you got to go off and do stuff that won't bring in income, I guess, is kind of the catch there. But just watched a movie called The Box. It's not a good movie. In fact, it started off reasonably well, but it just, not a great movie. Why did I go this way? I really didn't want to go this way. You know what? Let's lower the old planter. We're going to go back this way. Basically, it was one of those deals, and I don't know if you used to play this game or not. It's been brought up at a party before, I know. For me, it's been brought up where you get a box and it's got a button, right? And you push the button. You get $1 million for pushing the button, but somebody you don't know dies. That's the gist. Pretty simple stuff. But then you got to get into all the ethics of it and everything else. And it was an interesting movie. It was all right. It wasn't great, you know. Kind of had a weirdo ending and whatnot. I don't know. Kind of like that movie I watched where that one girl got trapped in a shipping crate. I don't know if it was called The Crate. Probably was. I really don't know. But she was trapped in a shipping crate that fell overboard. How was that? Like a bunch of illegal immigrants, I think is what they were, or something. So because there were like 3 or 4 crates, if I remember right, and she was in one by herself, I think, and she's pregnant, of course. The other crates eventually sank, which of course is pretty bad. But she survives in this crate for I don't know how many days. I don't know if it was based on a real deal or not. I don't really know, but it's one of those movies again where you watch them and you're like, okay, I can skip the first 20 minutes. I'll watch the meat of it, skip another 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then watch the ending to see how she makes out. That kind of deal. They're jostling around. Whoa, Brad, get over a little bit. Come on. You're playing with danger there on the right side. But I like watching the equipment work. So I'm out on, I don't know if any of you have heard of Woot, W-O-O-T. Woot's been around a long time. I think Woot got bought by Amazon a while back. But many, many years ago when Woot was just Woot, and I first heard about it, it was one of those sites that just fascinated me. And every day I would check it out. In fact, oftentimes I would have it on my screen at work. I would at least have it a tab to Woot. And there were days when they would have their hot deals. It's a deal site, right? And they'd have this thing where, you know, it's a deal until it sells out kind of thing. I don't know what they call them, flash sale, but they always had like the beacons, you know, the beacons were flashing and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I was out there on Woot the other day, and I came across this this computer, and it got me thinking a little bit. It's one of these computers where it was a full-blown deal. It wasn't a bare bones thing or anything. Ready to go, you know, buy it, take it home, or get it shipped, and you're computing. I guess, more or less. For what was it? $115. I'll just keep that in mind. $115 shipped to your door. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Oh yeah, it's going to do it for me. $115 shipped to you, ready to go. $115. Now, I'll get to the specs here because, of course, that makes a pretty good difference, you know. But keep in mind, $115. The price of, I don't know, I guess the price of anything else that costs $115. But in reasonably speaking, that's not a lot of money, right? For a computer, especially. Now, obviously, it could be a lot of money depending on what your financial situation is, but $115 for a PC. Now, this is without a monitor. If you wanted a monitor, you add $40. And the monitor, I think, was I want to say it was like a 22 inch, I think, maybe even a 24. It wasn't that bad. So the specs are this. It's an Intel i5 7600. All right. Up to 4.1 gigahertz, of course. That's when it boosts, but it's quad core. All right, not really what you would call high end these days. Certainly not horrible. Not horrible, but not high end. Quad core, 6 megs of cache. All right, which, you know, once you get this thing, based on the chipset and the socket that it is, which I wasn't exactly sure offhand, I guess it's a 3.5 gigahertz. I don't know what socket that is right now. Anyways, you'd be able to upgrade that puppy. Almost definitely. But let's just say you didn't, so you stuck with this little quad-core i5. Came with 16 gigs of RAM, which is still, it's where I would say is min at this point in time. I would say 16 is a reasonable minimum amount of RAM you'd want. I'd say I wouldn't personally go, I'd probably stick with 32 min, but 16 will definitely get you by. I mean, most of the computers we use at work have 8. So by a lot of people's standards, 16 is not too shabby. Of course, it depends on what you're doing with it, but still, 16 is not too shabby. And they toss in, you know, some generic, I'm sure, 256 gig SSD, which are worth about $20 these days. So easily upgradable there as well. Add a second one, maybe put your operating system just on that, and maybe get a nice large additional SSD. Or if you're using it for a media server, go out and grab yourself a 4, 8, 12 terabyte spindle drive. You know, for media servers, they work great. Of course, you've got the Junkola Intel HD graphics. No offense, but Intel HD graphics, yeah. It'll get you by for some stuff, but you definitely want to throw in some dedicated graphics card. And these days, you could go out and get yourself an old GTX 1080 for like $100. I mean, and that one of my kids has a GTX 1080 in their system, and they're still playing all the new games on pretty darn good graphics settings. Of course, no ray tracing, but whatever. Doesn't support, I don't think the GTX series supported DirectX 12. I'm not sure if they do or not. Anyways, you could step it up to a 2060, maybe, something like that, for a couple hundred, $200, maybe $200, $250. Windows 10 Professional comes with it. Now, if you buy a license for Windows 10 right now, especially like Windows 10 Pro, I believe a Windows 10 Pro. Now, I'm not talking about going out to one of these sites where you get licenses for like, you get a Windows 10 license for like $10. It's some shady site. I'm not talking about that. But if you buy it from a legit place, legit site, where you know your license key is going to be valid for ever, not just for the next 2 months until you find out that the $15 you spent on Windows is no longer working for you. But I mean, Windows is going to cost you $100, right? If I remember right, looking at it last time, I think a license of Windows generally is about $100. This is a Dell Optiplex. Oh, I'm sorry, Optiplex. I call them Optipukes, but a Dell Optiplex 7050 SFF, which is a small form factor. Still has 2 expansion slots. Of course, you'd have to get the low-rise cards because it's a small form factor, so you would have to make sure when you buy your graphics card or whatever you buy to put in it, it's low-rise, which is not a problem these days. $115. And if I remember right, I didn't see refurbished anywhere. Maybe I should turn on GPS. I'm starting to look at my work here. Maybe it's not quite so straight. Yeah, $115 shipped to your door. And it'll run Windows 10 just fine. I don't know if it had TPM or not, so I don't know how you do with 11. There's ways around that, but not quite sure if it has a TPM or not. My guess is well, it's kind of tough to say. It looked like a business standard computer, and I'm wondering if that's why they're going pretty cheap, because it's probably not Windows 11 ready. Maybe that's why, but anyways. But shoot, man, I almost pulled the trigger on it. Almost pulled the trigger. In fact, I probably should have pulled the trigger on it to replace my current media PC, my Plex server, so to speak. I should have pulled the trigger on it now that I'm thinking about it. Now I've got some little bit of regret going on. Because my PC that I have for my Plex server is an old HP piece of junk that I bought as a bare bones. And the fans are starting to go and starting to get loud, and it's not been happy with me for a while. And I probably should replace it. Let's do this, and let's lock in. Let's at least do 1 or 2 GPS rows so it can clean up my horrible work here. Now I can sit back and relax and spend a little bit more time looking at the equipment, looking at the little Vulture pulling this thing. The Lizard brand, the brand that breeds confidence. You're not farming unless you're lizard farming. That'd be the slogan I would use. You're not farming unless you're lizard farming. Sounds kind of weird though, like you'd actually be farming lizards, but yeah, that's a nice cleaner line right there. But I like this planter. I think this is going to be a gimme. If we have to fork out money to actually purchase a planter, which we probably will eventually, I'd say that this one's probably going to be our ticket. Unless you guys know of something, know something about it that I don't know. It's price-wise, it is very affordable. Made in the same factory as John Deere's, from what I understand. That's probably not true. Man, see, I'm still thinking about that PC, man. I don't know. Maybe I should have picked it up. There'll be another one. And see, for a media server, you don't need, you don't need an i7 or an i9. You don't need 32, 64, 128 gigs of RAM. You don't need all that stuff. In fact, even that Intel graphics will work just fine. Even for a 4K, I think that'll push 4K even. I mean, of course, throw in something, spend a little money and throw in a little bit better something. It just caught me off guard. Maybe I've just been out of it because I haven't been looking at pre-builds. I've never bought a pre-built. I probably never will. And there's not because there's anything wrong with them necessarily, I just prefer building my own, I want to pick each piece out. I want this motherboard, and I want this graphics card, and I want this kind of cooler, and I want, you know what I'm saying? And if I do that with a pre-build, if you're lucky enough to find a company that will pre-build that way to your specifications like that, you're going to pay for the labor and whatnot. And I don't want to do that. Oh, Brad, what are you doing, my friend? It doesn't like it. There it goes. So I was thinking this planter doesn't make any noise when you turn it on. But I'm not certain it's supposed to, right? So the cables are coming out there, coming through that pipe, I'm sure, and then feeding into here. It probably doesn't. It's probably all. What word am I looking for? Pneumatic, air driven. I'm just used to hearing a something revving up, and going to town. But anyways, I know I get off on things other than farming, and it's probably something that this channel is always gonna be. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was talking to one of my sons, and he was asking me about how the channel was going and thing, and I don't know. We just got to talking, and it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I guess I can't predict how things are going to be a year from now. But to me, it's like there's only so much you can say about planting this field. We can talk about other projects we want to get done on the farm and whatnot. Can always do the time lapse. Maybe that's what I'll have to start doing more of. In fact, I really should start doing more time-lapse stuff so that you guys don't have to probably maybe be a little bit more interesting to get more done in an episode and with time-lapse. That wouldn't leave me then enough time to rant, which might be a good thing. This planter has some seriously nice details. I'm actually getting more and more impressed. How did we just run out? 3 liters. Holy cow. That was nice. Let's lift you up. Let's turn you off. Let's hit the wrong key. I want to get out and check this out. Then it locks into that deal there. Not bad. Who makes this? Who's the modder for this? This feels like a Mac truck. Probably not a Mac trucker thing. JD Modding. Interesting. Oh, nice job, JD Modding. Very nice job. That might be something to do when you retire. Is, you know, a friend of mine was trying to talk me into getting into business like that, PC building and stuff. But to be competitive, the margins are so tight. You would really have to have some kind of a, you'd have to have some kind of a, offer something that just is specialized at this point. So many PC building companies start and go out of business so quickly, you don't even know they were there. Just margins are way too tight to be competitive. I mean, it's volume. With Dell, with HP, with all the major computer manufacturers, it's all about volume for them. Their margins are extremely tight. And I used to be in purchasing specifically for IT, and I can tell you that without a doubt, you know, the main benefit to the business line, so to speak, of computers, because I've had people ask me, am I getting a better PC, you know, quote unquote better PC, if I buy the business line rather than the regular commercial kind of lineup, right? And really the only difference between them, the main difference I should say, not the only, but the main difference, is the consistency of the hardware. And with business line PCs, if I buy 1,000 Dell Optiplexes, like this one here, 7050, let's just say, they are supposed to all have, they're not bin picks, they're legit hardware. So they're all going to have Samsung, let's just say, for examples, they're all going to have Samsung SSDs, the same one. They're all going to have the same Corsair RAM, maybe Micron or whatever. You get my point. And that's the real advantage to them, because in a business, when you've got 50,000 computers, you don't want to have to provide support for whatever pick of the day they built your PC with. You want to know that every Optiplex 7050 you have in the building has a Samsung SSD. Maybe two models, maybe a Samsung or a, like I said, maybe a Samsung or maybe whatever it might be. You get the idea. Are they necessarily better? Is it necessarily better hardware? Not necessarily better, just consistent. But you pay for that consistency. You pay a little bit more for that. And of course, the support's going to be, or should be, different as well. But you also pay for that too. Even businesses pay for extended support if that's what they need. I had to get my Dell certification when I started this particular job, which is not uncommon. With large companies, they want your on-sites to be certified so that, so I can do repairs, so you don't have to send everything out to get fixed. And that's another thing too, they want to know that if you're certified to make repairs, I'm not going to crack open a laptop and be like, what brand what brand SSD is this? Pick of the day, more or less. It'd be fun. It'd be fun to do it and build stuff, but boy, just a tough market. I had a buddy that started his own support business, and the nightmares that went along with that got me out of that mindset quickly. I mean, you've got to be insured. You can't walk into somebody's house and be sitting there working on a computer and have it blow up on you and not be insured, or have them accuse you of wrecking their stuff, or because the last person that touches it is the one that caused the problem 6 months from now. Shoot, Gen X, you probably know that even with RV work, maybe. I don't know. It's like, I mean, it happens all the time, you know. Didn't you work on my computer in 2021? Yeah, I think so. Well, what'd you do to it? You know, it's 3 years later and Office isn't working. So what did you break? Oh, you caught me. You caught me. My master plan. Here's a little something for you to think about. Whoopsie. I don't know what I just did there with store deliveries, but we're going to fix that right out. You caught my master plan, but here's a little something to think about. Microsoft Office doesn't need help to get broken. It does a good job on its own. No offense, Microsoft. But Outlook is horrible. Who knows? Maybe we'll get enough money here on the farm that I can start hiring. I talked to American Gwen, and you would think being a family member would carry some weight. Evidently not. I thought I was going to get some free labor out of her. But her hourly charge is more than... I think it's higher than what I can get here from somebody local. So good luck with that, Gwen. Gwen has started her own Mary Kay business. I don't know. I don't know if I would necessarily consider her the best Mary Kay representative. I think it's just an excuse to get drunk with a bunch of other people. But hey, you know, more power to you. Maybe if you get them tanked up enough, they'll buy some of your product. I don't know. Maybe that's how it works. Mary Kay. Mary Kay is not the one that has the... Who is it with the pink Cadillacs? Is that Avon? I always wanted a pink Cadillac from Avon. RQS Avon. And then I'm not that far from the headquarters, the world headquarters of Amway. And they're pretty big in my neck of the woods around here. But 3 times in my life have I had people try to get me involved in the old Amway business. The first time was kind of like, no thanks, you know. The second time was like, really no. And then the third person was the one that got me the most. Was a guy I lived next door to when we were dorming in college. He wasn't a dorm mate, but our roommate, but he was next door to me, and I hadn't seen him in years. But this was many years ago as well. But he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing?" And Brad, why do you do that, man? He was like, "Hey man, I haven't seen you in years. Would love to connect again. Got married and all this stuff." And I'm thinking, man, this will be cool. You know what? We're here. We should probably... Maybe I should have folded. We should probably grab some seed while we're over here. And he actually traveled several hours to come see me and stuff, and I was really looking forward to the visit and catching up with him, seeing his, meeting his new wife and stuff. And turns out that it was all to try to get me into Amway. And that was kind of ruined it for me. No offense if you're in Amway, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. Just that particular situation was not the best. How in the heck did we get... Oh, Mary Kay, Gwen. Yeah, so Gwen asked me if I would be willing to host a Mary Kay event. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work in the old trailer. But she seems to think that we could use... Now that we've got our own farm, she said that she'd come over early and decorate one of the barns and set it up for a big old Mary Kay powwow. And I told her that I would rather I would rather be run over by a rototiller than host her stinking Mary Kay event, but who knows, maybe she'll change my mind. She is family after all. She is family. Chad's heading back. I heard from Chad the other day. I think I mentioned to you, he finally did get released from customs. I guess he is somewhere in, I think he's in northern Canada somewhere. I'm not really sure where he's at, but he promises he will be ready for work. He'll be ready for work, he said, when he gets back. So we'll see how that goes. Said he has a lot of new ideas to share. I don't know. Still haven't heard any firm information on the RQS Conglomerated International board members incorporated. They are still scattered about. Last I heard, I think I mentioned to you all that they were in some hotel in New Jersey. My understanding now is they've actually dispersed. They don't want to be, I guess, all together anymore, or something happened there. I don't know what really happened, but hopefully we'll get the board of directors back. I kind of like it. It's like a little vacation for me. I'm not getting daily emails from them about change this, change that, do this, do that, you know. Maybe they figured out that maybe they just figured it out that that it was just me and things weren't going well. I don't know. I don't know for them. I don't know. I want to stay out of all that legal mess, though, that's for sure. I do kind of miss having their lawyer, though. But I think they brought more lawsuits on than they fixed. Well, I don't know if we... How much... Oh, we do still have some more seeds sitting over there. Alright, we'll probably be in pretty good shape. I'm going to let you all go. I got to pack things up. Get this video ready for Monday morning. I got to start paying a little bit closer attention to the time. Maybe start keeping episodes to around 30. That way you all don't have to listen to me ramble so much. Just seeing new details on this thing that I just didn't notice before. It's just so cool. Look at that little sprocket chain moving right there. You got a gear over here going to town. That's so slick. Those things are just a popping up and down, man. I don't know how they plant hopping up and down like that, but apparently they do. So yeah, that's about it. You all take care of yourselves. Thanks for joining me again. Always, as always, I appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe if you like. As always, leave a like if I'd appreciate that if you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to become a member. Feel free to join our Discord. Feel free to do what you like. And we'll be back here on American Falls tomorrow to continue our journey and hopefully keep building our wealth and not go the other way with it. I have to check on our grass and see how that's doing. We might get a cutting in yet this month, but we'll see. I got to get these 2 contracts knocked out. But you all take care of yourselves. Thanks for joining me again. and I'll see you real soon. Bye for now.